Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
386 shows and we still laugh before we do this. I don't know why.
Some of us do. Some of us do.
Yeah. That would be.
Some of us aren't dead inside.
Sorry.
Some of us haven't sold our soul.
Yeah. For Star Trek figures.
That's right. The languish in the attic.
It's a fair trade.
Todd, you need to move your microphone closer to you. I'm hardly hearing you. Barry?
Well, he's not speaking, so it's hard for me to tell.
Yeah. And that's, yeah.
That's better. I hear you
We'll
better
fix
now.
it in...
If only this were a video podcast.
I do not know how close you want it, okay? Cause
I don't know how close it is, but
it's
you
less
seem very
than 6
low.
inches now. So
That's just... Yeah. Like that's ever possible. No way.
Oh, if
Okay.
only people could have seen what you just did, that would have been hilarious.
It's, what is it? It's pollen season. Be careful out there, people. I couldn't go outside today. Every time I went outside, I sneezed.
I think you go outside anyway.
I try not to, but I got to brush the pool. It's a whole thing. I had it replastered, so you got to brush it twice a day. That is nowhere near as fun as you think it is.
Well, tomorrow, I mean, I'm assuming that the weather will be similar here on Long Island as it is in Westchester, but tomorrow's supposed to be like 80 degrees out, so.
Yeah, 81 they said here, which is crazy.
that's cool.
So
You know, since you mentioned outside, Dave, I wasn't going to even bring this up, but I'm going to bring this up because something I know about you, having known you as long as I have, is you don't enjoy barbecuing. You're not an outdoor cook.
I don't like cooking anything.
Okay.
I will eat barbecue. I don't like cooking. I can. I just don't like
You
it.
choose not to. Well, I this week I had a bit of a separation. My barbecue of 17 years, which I have grown very close to, and because I do enjoy barbecuing very much, I have a personal relationship with my barbecue. I've replaced it after 17 years. It was a little traumatic.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah, the new one came today. I haven't cooked on it yet, obviously, but I cooked on my old one last night as a final meal.
It did look good. I know. I'm sure the insides were not
Yeah, the
good,
inside
'cause
needed. I mean, it needed to be replaced. 17 years is more than you can ask of any barbecue, I think.
So people, at this point, may I just interject? The fact that Barry posted a touching goodbye to his old barbecue on Facebook is probably one of the reasons that I don't go on Facebook. But anyways, continue.
It's
so
also an
many
indication
better
that
reasons
there's
to not
nothing
go on
else to
Facebook.
fucking talk about right now in the world. But yeah, so yeah,
I think I have our barbecue longer than that. Actually,
really, wow.
I'm trying to think. It was my parents' barbecue, and they didn't. My mother didn't use it because it would cause a fire, of course, as all things like that do.
Well, again, that's the purpose.
Which is its kind of its sole purpose
like-
in life. Is
Yeah.
But she does. This was 20 years ago. She didn't feel it's going to start a fire. So we haven't used it. If you want to take it, so it's got to be 20 years old. I mean, I don't think it's got as much use as yours. It's a Weber.
Yeah, I
smaller
use
one.
mine a lot, and I had 5 years ago. I replaced the burners and some of the grates and everything, and it just it's not cooking as well as it used to. It had a good life. It gave me a lot of good meals. I'm sad to see it go, but I'm hoping the new one lives up to the reputation.
What did you get to replace it?
I got another Weber.
They're not cheap these days.
They are not, but
I don't think those great. This is barbecue talk with the regular Joes. I don't think the grates they make these days are anywhere near as good as the old grates.
Well, I got the one. I upgraded to the one with stainless steel grates. So,
Oh, okay.
which is what I have had all this time. So, we'll see. We'll see how this one holds up.
There you go. Let us know what you're barbecuing on.
Yeah.
Any of you
barbecue
nuts
recipes.
with those green eggs? Those people are crazy. My friend's got one, and he lives and breathes the green egg. If you know what that is, you know what it is. If you don't, you don't.
Green eggs and people that love their smokers. I know
That's the
people
smoker. The green egg
Yeah.
is one of the smokers.
Yeah. I don't go that far. I don't smoke anything.
It's like 11 hours. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll put it on, at 9 o'clock at night, and then the next day we'll eat it. I'm like, That's way too much involvement
Yeah, it's a lot of
for
work.
me. But enough of that.
Sorry to digress.
It's all...
Did we start recording already?
We could start over. But
I'm sorry, I might have dozed off for a while there. I'm not.
yeah,
sure.
I know. It's not always science
There's
fiction.
someone
and,
who
you
was...
know,
Somebody
fantasy.
ears pricked up and said barbecue. I bet Whitey, you seem like a barbecue guy. You do.
If anyone's still listening,
You're
at
always
this
showing
point,
pictures of the
it's possible.
outside.
I know Jim Bush. I think Jim Bush is a barbecuer
Oh,
and a
wow.
sweet.
We've had
had some
Jim
barbecue at
Bush's
Jim's house.
brisket.
Yep.
We've had his brisket and brats, I believe.
I'm telling you, there's more people than you think. Whitey, he's into Porsches and he likes the outside. I bet he's barbecuing.
Nate
You
probably
let us know if
barbecues,
that's
too.
the case.
So there's barbecue people out there.
For sure. Okay, today we're all over the place, but let's go some random. Todd, what do you got since you haven't said much in the past
10
boring
minutes.
Okay, good. So, two things you guys definitely won't have. Some
Moon Knight, go ahead.
kind of no, you won't. So, kind of local entertainment news. There was a film nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards, The Sound of Metal, which actually won a couple awards. And
Riz Ahmed.
it was directed by Darius Martyr, who is a local guy. He lives just up the road from here. I've actually met him once. And
I thought it was a documentary. It's not a
No,
documentary.
Riz
Nope.
Ahmed from Rogue One stars in it.
yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
And then there's actually another person who's about 20 miles away, also involved in it. And
I got so excited about that when I saw it was The Sound of Metal and it was about a heavy metal drummer, and then I watched the trailer, and I was like, I can't watch
I actually
that.
thought this would be right up your alley. So,
It looks depressing as hell.
oh, I'm sure it is.
Me
But
with my ear
think about this,
problems,
like,
I can't watch it.
okay, even like rock documentaries, every single one is depressing as hell, right? Or even no, but I'm
But
saying
there isn't usually sign language involved.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
I didn't disagree with that. The Beyond the Lighted Stage,
Greatest
great.
documentary
The
ever.
Go-Go's, good.
Okay. So how about this? Rock and roll biopics are always tragic.
I thought it was pronounced biopic.
It is not biopic. It's not like myopic.
I think this is like GIF and GIF. I think that people side on one way or the other, but it is
It's
biopic.
biopic. Some people do say
I know.
biopic.
I've heard that. No, it is biopic. But seriously, name the one that's got a happy ending in it.
You know what? You're really behind the music. Third commercial break, and then tragedy struck.
Right.
Someone,
I always preferred Bands Reunited, where they went and they surprised members of bands that had broken up and tried to get them to agree to get back together. That one was way more
but when
fun.
they go to when they have to go to Golden Corral to find the drummer,
Exactly. Pull the
It's
guy
always
behind the
no
hot bar
fun.
in.
So one of my all-time favorite bands, which is a band that very few people even really know about, they're a band called Dramarama. They're out of New Jersey from the 80s, but they did them on Bands
it's a
Reunited.
Cruel Summer. That's them.
No, that's Bananarama. But anyway, they did an episode of Bands Reunited, and they showed up at the lead singer's house, and he was like shirtless in his garage. And he was like, "Can I at least go put a shirt on before we start recording this?" And they left all of that in, which was
That's
pretty
cool.
classic.
That's cool that they wasn't phony like that.
And one of the guitar players was like driving a back loader or something. You know, like they got him out of the big yellow machine to talk to them. It was funny stuff.
Cool. Can I do my other
I'm
thing
sorry,
now?
Todd, you were talking about something at some point.
As I told you guys,
Me
this
and
week,
Barry
they
are
wrapped up
just gonna-
filming the Dexter kind of follow-up series, and it again just the next town over from me, and I never saw Michael C. Hall. Pretty much everyone I know ran into him somewhere because he was just around everywhere. And
well, you are working every day.
I am working,
We know that.
and I will say
most people are working from home, and they're really not working. So that's why they
my-
all saw them.
if you went to Shelburne Falls, which is the next town over, to do anything, you ended up being an extra because they never could get enough extras.
Was Karen an extra in this? I know she's been extras in other
No.
things before.
Again, working. So
Yeah.
But so like a ton of people have been extras that I know that just were there for whatever. Oh, you want to be an extra, and well, the interesting thing is they're shooting winter. They're shooting for winter there. So at one point,
Crazy.
I saw, as I told you guys, I saw a truck with fake snowbanks in it, which is weird. But I also, like, if I stop at the Dunkin' Donuts on the way home, I would be there invariably when there were production trucks there and stuff like that. So that must be like when everybody like heads down the trail. So yeah, interesting. Anyways, but it's the same town where they shot the exteriors for the Robert Downey Jr. movie, The Judge. So
Right.
It was North Carolina, and now it's upstate New York. So
Were there any Yvonne Strahovski sightings?
she does not appear she is in the cast.
damn it.
Which is very disappointing.
I know.
So-
I love her.
I would have taken time off from work. So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Yeah, you would have been arrested more like it. Stalking her.
again. Yeah. Hey, the restraining order's lapsed, so we're good.
There you go.
Barry, what do you got?
So we always joke about how you, and maybe not even joke, about how you are a completist and you have to watch. There's certain things, if you start it, you've got to watch it. The only thing that I'm like that with is Star Wars stuff. So when Disney Plus put up the Ewoks movies recently,
Oh my god.
I felt compelled to watch them. I had seen them both when they aired on TV back in the 80s.
And that wasn't enough.
I had not seen them since. So I made it all the way through the Ewoks Caravan of Courage, which was the first one. What I will say is that the HD transfers they did look spectacular. Like, I can't believe how
Wow.
good they look.
You could almost feel the fur in their
No, well,
little
so
furry bodies.
that movie is, and this is so typical of George Lucas, because he did write the story for both of these.
Jesus.
It was like the Lord of the Rings, only with Ewoks. I mean, they get a bunch of Ewoks together. The Caravan of Courage, in air quotes, is like it's kind of like the group that goes on the quest in the Lord of the Rings to throw the ring back in the. But anyway, at one point they're in a cave and there's giant spiders, just like Lord of the Rings. You can literally see all the strings holding the spiders up. They made no attempt back
Wait.
then.
Wait,
I thought it was a cartoon.
Barry, those are called spider webs.
No, not when there's like 6 of them holding the spider up dangling.
Yeah.
It's not a cartoon?
No, these are live action, Dave.
So
I never
Barry,
saw
is
them.
this subtitled, or are they just like making little like noises?
No, they're making noises, but this is you're it's funny, you're leading me right to my point. So the first movie is a little girl and her brother get separated from their parents. The parents are captured, and they go on a quest with the Ewoks to rescue their parents. And Wicket's in it, and it's Warwick Davis in the Wicket costume, and a bunch of other nameless Ewoks. By the end of the first movie, Wicket is starting to repeat some of the English words back to the kids. Now we get to the second movie, the Ewok Battle of Endor. Wicket is now speaking full English.
I've never seen those.
And they Alien
don't think I
3,
ever can.
the movie. In the first 5 minutes of the movie, they kill the brother, the mother, and the father. And it's just the little girl with the Ewoks.
Wait. There's a third one of these?
No, the second one, I'm saying, in the second movie, within the first 5 minutes, the whole family that we rescued in the first movie, they killed them all off in the
Oh, like Alien 3.
Like
Okay,
Alien
I see.
3. They killed them
What
all
the
off.
hell? What kind of crazy... Was that in the movie theaters?
Yeah. It was on TV in America and in movie theaters everywhere else in the world.
Never seen that.
So,
That's
and
just-
the
that's just batshit crazy.
second
Todd,
one.
have you ever seen these things?
Oh God, no.
So he and this is going to be something coming out of my mouth.
Oh, boy.
The second one is a poor man's Willow.
Oofa.
They literally had like the wizards and like a lot of the elements of Willow were in this and made their way into Willow. The other interesting thing is the brother in this is named Mace. So like he clearly liked that name because he reused it so many years later. So yeah,
It's
Battle
frightening.
Ewok movies. They're on Disney Plus. Don't highly recommend them, but they're funny. I am now complete
Okay.
though.
It's funny you mentioned that because I went through last week and I finished watching the second season of Counterpart, which although it was kind of slow, it was actually really was on Epix. It was J.K. Simmons thing.
Or epics?
Or epics.
Epix, Epics, however you want to say it. It's like
Epics.
Well, it's pronounced Epics.
No, I think it's Epix. It's
No,
like,
I've met with the client.
I think it's
like,
Biopic.
it's like Bioptic.
I thought it was on...
Was it Star? Maybe
it was on another.
Anyways, whatever
Stars.
it was on. It's not
This
there
is the
anymore.
most random episode we've done in a long time.
Oh yes, and that says something.
We
But
should just keep going with this.
anyways,
Yeah, this is good.
It was actually very good. It's it's a parallel world story, and
I had a hard time getting through the first. I couldn't get through the first season.
the second season is much better. And I would say the second half of the second season much, because you actually get it's the only time I've ever seen one of these things where you get an explanation of why the world split, and it's quite good. And there's a flashback episode that has none of the main cast in it that takes you back to when the event happened, and it was really cool. And like I said, I like parallel world stories. So, but it ended up really well, and so if you get an opportunity, if you only saw the first season. It's definitely worth checking out. And the other one like that is I'm now mostly through the first of 2 seasons of Project Blue Book, which I started watching and then dropped for some reason. It's actually pretty good. So again, both of these things don't move at a breakneck pace, but they're interesting. So
Interesting.
but I will finish them because, as Barry said, I have to finish everything. If I start it, I have to finish it.
I watched. I have a couple things, but since we're talking about watching, I watched 2 movies this weekend. Stowaway on Netflix.
Of course you did, because your girl's in that one.
Yeah, it doesn't even do her justice. She's nothing special. It was okay. It was sort of like a Gravity kind of, not even, I don't know. It was. I mean, hey, there's nothing to watch, so it wasn't great, but it was an interesting concept. Which is, do you know what it is?
She stows away. Somebody stows away on a spaceship.
Somebody gets injured and is locked up in the spacecraft that gets. I guess they're on their way to Mars, so the spacecraft goes, and then they meet up with it, and then they have a issue where there's not enough. The air handler gets damaged, so there's only enough air for 3 of the 4 of them. So,
wait, are you telling us the whole movie here? Because this is like my weekend plan.
That's sort of the trailer.
Okay.
That's the trailer.
Wow.
And then I watched. We talked about last week. I watched Mortal Kombat. Even Pam was like, "Mortal Kombat, is that a new movie? Let's watch it." That's not for me.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was
not
bloody.
for me either.
It was very much like live action violence translated from the video game to. I have no idea about the video game, but it was okay.
Was it better than the other one? Its name I can't remember.
I haven't seen the one Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. I did see Street Fighter. So
Did you see the comment we got on Facebook?
I watched the new Mortal Kombat.
Did you see the comment that we got on Facebook?
I did not.
I'll find it. Keep talking. I'll find it.
It's one of these tent poles from HBO Max, so it was okay. It was a little fun. It was a little funny, but it was fine. I don't know anything about the freaking video game. Our pal Meg dressed as one of them in her Instagram with clothes on, but so there's a lot of people who like these video game movies.
Well, that's always good. We like to see Meg dressed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I've got to go to the right episode here. That is
the other thing, while you're looking, and I know we texted about this, so New York Comic Con is plans to be live this year.
Yes.
With limited capacity.
With limited capacity, and I wonder what that means.
So I was, as told you guys, I was talking to Troy about this the week before last, and they have completed their expansion on the Javits. So limited capacity is more than is actually, because at full capacity, it's
the problem with when I did see, I think that expansion went up, so it's small. I think it's a small footprint on multiple levels. That to me, we've been.
It was already like 3 levels, wasn't it? Because if you count the lower level.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not. To me, it looks like they took a little bit of an office building and put it next to it, so it goes like up 8 stories. But we've been to a lot of convention centers in our lifetime. Javits is among the smallest. I mean, the expansiveness of like the Chicago one or the Orlando one. I mean, it's tremendous.
Yeah, it's monstrous.
You go to Orlando, even Star Wars Celebration didn't even use nearly all of it. You go to one of those and spread it out and say limited capacity, okay, maybe.
So and that one in Orlando was
the plan
built
before the plan before COVID. With the expansion that is complete, they were going to be able to go from 180,000 to 300,000. So that's more than some tiers. I mean, that's a pretty significant jump.
They added 1 million square feet, but it's nowhere near to me, like the Orlando Convention Center. It's just spread out and massive. Even if they imagine the super crowded halls and they cut them by a quarter, or cut them in
right. But
down
if
to
what they did was add space, up, now you've got the congestion of trying to get up and down. There's only so many elevators and escalators.
And you don't want to get in an elevator there.
No, and I don't think, all the halls we were in, there's nothing on top of that. I think they built, like I said, a building next to it.
Right.
With a bunch of levels.
Okay.
Yeah, but even if that's the case, I mean, even when we used to go to, like, the chiller shows in New Jersey, they would have these, sections where they were off on the side, or you'd have to go down these, like, into the hotel part, and stuff ends up being so spread out, it becomes hard to even figure out where you need to be and how you get to it. So we had a comment, by the way, on Facebook from Derek Webster, who listens to our show. Says, listen to the new show today. I'm glad you guys sorted out the whole Mortal Kombat Street Fighter thing. I was yelling out loud in my car.
Derek, I don't know if we have or have not met you, but we're probably older than you, so we just don't know. We're not children of the 90s.
If we knew, we've now forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
There are people who played those games. We didn't. I played Pong, so...
And he still does on his 100-inch TV screen. So, back to New York Comic Con, like we were texting back and forth, good that they want to try to do it, like we talked about with the thing with California too, with San Diego. But it would be really, really. I don't know that you could convince me with anything to go this year.
I'm with you.
Don't think it's worth it.
No.
I want to get back to normal. I want to get back to doing fun things, but it's not going to be 20,000 people. It's going to still probably be 75,000 people.
And the thing I worry about? It's, guideline. And I'm not saying anything against New York Comic Con. I'm just saying in general. Or Reed Pop or anybody. This is not... but it could be the kind of thing that's like, yes, restrictions. It got out of control. There were 100,000 people there. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I was talking to a friend of ours the other night who just got back from Disney in Orlando, and they were supposed to be at 35% capacity, and he said it felt like they were at like 85% capacity.
Really?
And in Universal, he said the extent of the COVID measures were at the front of every line, there was a guy there with a squirt bottle with hand sanitizer. So
I will tell you, if I go... I would go in my full-on For All Mankind cosplay. I would have self-contained oxygen packs. I would be sealed in that suit. And,
Well, Brian, I believe, is at Disney World right now. So we'll get
we'll have to get the update from him when he gets back.
Yeah, interesting. Any more random? I know we keep going on.
One last thing. One other thing I watched this weekend, since we're talking about things we watched. I watched the extended cut of The Martian in 4K. Man, I love that movie in any cut. But the extended version and the 4K transfer, it was
How much does the extended version add to it? I mean, is it...
It's probably like 20 minutes.
Oh, I want to watch that then.
Wait. Did you
I would definitely
buy it?
I would take more
of
that film.
I bought it on Blu-ray, and when it came out, or 4K Blu-ray, and I put the code in my Apple TV, and it's just in my Apple movie library, so I just fired it up.
No, but you bought that. That's where it is. It's not
I bought it on Blu-ray, and then I watched it on my Apple TV. But
I just watched 20 minutes of that on my kitchen television.
Well, that was on Saturday, and Joshua watched it, and I only caught bits and pieces, and that's what I'm like. You know what? I want to watch the whole thing from beginning to end.
There's now, I would definitely. So essentially now there's 4 versions of The Martian to work from. You can go print, you can go audiobook, which is superb, the movie, and then the extended cut, and they're probably all worth spending that time.
Yeah, the extended cut is primarily more Mark Watney stuff on Mars, which is
totally
great.
fine.
Yeah,
That's
totally
what
fine.
the whole movie is.
That's what the best of the book is. Yeah.
That's awesome. I may have to buy that.
Yeah,
and if I was Todd, I'd be buying it right now. But
highly
I actually
recommend
have
it.
to.
Yeah.
I have
Wait
to
till
But
after
I
the
will
show.
I will have the courtesy of waiting till one of you is talking about something to buy it. So
were you going to talk about stuff to watch, or
I was going to throw one more thing out there that this
show is all random topics. Everyone, just
What's
so you know.
funny is we
it's
tried
all
to make that last week and
all
we
random,
failed.
all the time. So, on HBO right now, there's been 3 episodes of a series called The Nevers.
Yeah, I was thinking about watching that, but I couldn't bring myself to do
Just to
it.
confirm, you'd like to call Ben Maine? Who would you like to call?
No, Siri.
No,
I don't want to call him.
So, Barry, you shaking your head no.
Well, I tried, and Sean had been raving about it, and Maria and I both tried. We watched about 20 minutes of the first episode, and it's just so not
How
for
can
us.
you watch 20 minutes of a pilot?
Because I was at 5 minutes in, we were already like, should we shut this off? It just did not capture our imagination at all.
Give it. Just watch the first episode, anyways.
I'm
I
done.
actually like it.
I
I like
tried.
it. And
You like everything, though.
no, I don't like
Kind
everything.
of do.
I finish everything. It doesn't mean I like it. I am liking this. So it's very different, and you just got to be prepared for it being very different. But it's
You know, I'm not big on period pieces to start with,
yeah.
so that was strike one.
Does it have subtitles too?
There are no subtitles.
Because I know you really hate that.
Yeah, I don't like reading. I don't like working while I watch things.
Anyways, Dave, try an episode of it. I think you're more the long shot on this, but I think it's very good. I like it. It's yeah.
Dave, don't.
Wait, I was looking for the Martian. Were you making a face?
No, I was just saying, Dave. I was trying to whisper to you and not have Todd hear me. I don't think
ahead.
that works on a podcast, but I
No,
was
it
trying.
kinda
What
doesn't.
were you going to say?
Kind of doesn't.
I was saying, don't watch it.
Oh, the extended edition. I need to get that. I'm desperate for stuff to watch. I wish someone had some insight in
If
what's
only
coming
somebody
up.
had a list of things coming up that you could watch, like Barry does.
We may actually push our main topics to next week and just do this. Do we want to do
Let's
this?
go. Come on.
Let's just keep going. I think at least one of our main topics is going to be 5 minutes at most. Okay. Well, and this one is probably more for Todd than you, Dave, but Handmaid's Tale Season 4 actually starts this week. As this show drops, episode drops.
I don't have Hulu. I refuse to get Hulu.
I'm
I
gonna
was so depressed
subscribe.
by the end of the first season that I never went back.
It's depressing. I will not try to defend that, but I enjoyed that. And again, Yvonne Strahovski's in it, so.
but
you
she's
know.
like in a burlap sack, right?
Well, no, it gets better as by season 3. She's breaking away from all that.
Okay.
I just had no idea it was even coming back until I saw a commercial this week that it was this Friday. So, anyway, Bad Batch May 4th, so that's coming up. I know you're not a huge animation guy, Dave, but you got to at least
No,
try that
I'll probably
one.
watch that just to watch it.
Here's one that I am confused about, and Todd, maybe you can help shed some light on this. May 21st, there's a Marvel MODOK show, but it's on Hulu. Why did they make a Marvel
animated.
MODOK? I know it's a cartoon, but why is it not on Disney Plus? I thought they pulled
What's
all
it
their
called?
stuff back. MODOK?
Who's that?
He's that big head guy.
He's the big head guy.
From Zardoz?
Yeah.
No, but wouldn't that be great if it was the Zardoz guy?
Yeah. Yeah. He's
The
basically
penis
like
is
he's like a
bad.
brain in a chair.
The gun is good.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm quoting Zardoz.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Zardoz the other day. Anyway,
Yeah.
what else? Keep going.
Well, but I don't know. It's a mystery to me why they're making anything for anybody else at this point. You think it would all be back on Disney Plus, but
Maybe because it sucks. And
maybe.
Well, first of all, Hulu and Disney, they're all sort of owned by the same people. But yeah, why would they put it on there? But anyway.
Right.
Because it's
So-
not that good.
Probably not that good, and it's animated. But
Well,
some animation's
one
awesome.
of their flagship things is What If. They're they're making
that's
products.
true.
They're making products based on this. There's things in stores tied to What If right now. So, yeah, and that's animated. So,
well, maybe the big head guy is not.
Yeah,
not
prestige Marvel.
Yeah. So then the big one, Loki, June 11th. I thought there was less of a gap between Winter Soldier and that, but there isn't.
No, we thought Winter Soldier may be longer. That's what we were thinking.
That's what it was.
It wasn't.
Hey, it just occurred to me. MCU is Disney Plus. That's straight Marvel. That may be what they're trying to keep those guidelines clear.
Maybe.
Oh, that could be.
Maybe. But I mean, they did pull everything off of Netflix that was there. I mean, they were kind of trying.
Oh yeah,
to
no.
pull
But what I'm
their...
saying is that
they may bring those into the universe.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. But the MODOK thing is definitely not in canon for the cinematic universe. So
okay. All right, the next one I have is not until July, but I've been encouraging you guys to watch the first season. So the second season of Ted Lasso comes out July 23rd. And then a little further out, Lower Decks. Star Trek Lower Decks is on
You're
Paramount
not giving
Plus.
me anything. I thought I had a little encouragement of something to watch.
Bad Batch, man.
I will watch
week.
The Bad Batch. You know what the other thing coming up, and I love this comic, Jupiter's Legacy.
I was actually just Googling the date. Yeah.
Okay.
It was May 7th, I believe.
All right, so that's coming up.
I know nothing about it. Todd loves the comic. It was the dude who wrote drew the run of Batman, some quietly guy.
And we've already confirmed this is not the Jupiter Rising.
No, it's not.
It seems like Invincible. But live action.
Kind of is, but it's Mark Millar, and Mark Millar did like Kick-Ass and a whole bunch of other things that are most of which are awesome. And check this out. Go in with an open mind. It's a higher concept.
Oh, you just lost Dave.
The Boys.
It's
As soon
a
as you say higher concept
than
and go in with an open mind, Dave's like, not for me.
Yeah.
No.
No,
I saw the.
I'm telling you, I think this is going to be good. Yeah. So we'll see.
It's got like what's his face? Josh Duhamel.
Matt Lantner.
With a crazy beard and some other people.
Yep.
Who else? Wait, did I read something else? No. Anyway, that's on Netflix, but I'll watch. I'm looking for something else to watch that I could watch with Pam. We cannot find anything to watch. Mark Wahlberg has a 6-part series on all his investments and stuff.
Yep.
Did you see that? I thought that was interesting, but
it's about his investments? That's crazy.
But like about what he's got his, obviously his acting. He's got the Wahlburgers. He's got a clothing company. He's involved in a gym. He's involved in this water company, and he's involved in something else.
Does he have an alcohol too, like a tequila or something like that? Or
I don't think he drinks too much.
Okay.
But the interesting thing about this, it's just 6 episodes, but they literally are like, okay, this show is going to be all about your investments, and some of them just starting to take off, this gym thing taking off, the clothing, and then COVID hits, and you literally go through everything they're dealing with. I found it interesting. I mean, I give the guy credit. I mean, the dude gets up at 3 a.m, works out, and then literally has meetings with every one of these scenarios. So,
you just made me think of another random topic now that we're 35 minutes in. But I just saw this today, and I don't know, you might have seen the same thing, Dave, but so I had read an article last week that Robert De Niro was actually hurting cash-wise, like that. Because of his divorce and because he hasn't been able to work, that he's getting raked over, and that he's like having financial issues. Today they announced he's doing a autograph signing, like
KLF,
one of these.
Yeah, I just got the email.
Like send in autograph signings, and I just thought it was interesting because that is right now like an easy way for these guys to make a lot of money for a day's worth of work.
But like, and I get even.
Is that De Niro money though? I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's say he charges
De Niro's got
$500 a signature.
He's got to charge close to what Harrison Ford gets. He has to.
I don't even.
He
know
won't
about
even
that. Let's
sign
say it's
an autograph
500
on the street. He is like belligerent to autograph hounds. He will not sign a damn thing.
Is $500,000 even like money that makes a difference to someone
when
like him?
you're going through a nasty divorce and you've got nothing, like you're like giving away all
The
your
dude's
money.
been working his whole life, and he's down to no money? That's odd.
Well, yeah, look, what do I know? I certainly don't know his personal finances, but I thought it was interesting that there were articles last week about how he was in financial trouble, and this week he announces an autograph
I didn't
signing.
know that, but I was surprised. I mean, what do you send in to him?
Yeah, but,
I
but
mean,
it-
if
A
you-
Goodfellas
also-
poster.
Financial trouble for somebody like that is he has to sell one of his houses. Okay, it's not. You can sign some autographs and get back on
No,
your feet.
let's just say hypothetically, you're spread. Maybe you're spread a little thin. You're giving away half or more than half because he's a New York State guy. He's not a California guy. You're giving away more than half of what you have, and maybe you're already spread a little thin. It could. I just Googled his net worth. If the internet is telling me the truth, he says he's worth $500 million. So
I think he paid someone who he's friends with to put that article out. So when he
This is
when
the
he gets
lawyer
audited by his
who
wife's
calls the
lawyer, I got no
publicist-
money.
The lawyer calls the publicist and says, we got to run down his net worth.
Well, so I just found an article from last summer that says his net worth before his finances took a hit was $500 million.
Now they're $250 million.
I don't know.
Even that, okay?
That's tough. I don't know if I could live on that.
Yeah, same here.
Here's another article from July last year. Robert De Niro will be lucky if he makes $7 million this year.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the person who's a huge De Niro fan and has never been able to even come close to getting his autograph, because again, he didn't sign anything for anybody.
Yeah, I didn't know that was the case, so it'll be.
Then
I mean, there's nothing that I'm like.
He does have a reputation for going all raging bull on paparazzi.
Raging Bull. That's the thing
Yeah.
that gets signed.
And,
Yep.
But yeah. But that's paparazzi. That's not like a...
my wife used to work and was good friends with a woman, a woman that was older than her, whose husband was very close friends with De Niro. They grew up together. They came up through Little Italy together. And for 2 years straight, every time I saw this woman, I would always say, Marlene, I'll give you my Goodfellas poster. Please, can you just... And she's like, oh, he won't. He just doesn't do that. So...
Then he may be charging $1,000.
I bet you he's as much as Harrison Ford. I bet you he's $1,500. We'll find out. They're going to announce the price soon, but...
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Jesus, are we even done with random? I don't even know where to go. But you know where we should go? Fanboy Collectibles.
Yes.
Everyone should go there. Check them out. There are statues from Iron Studios, Gentle Giant, Diamond, Marvel, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Mortal Kombat. Speaking of Mortal Kombat, there's all those statues. Check them out. Hot Toys and Pops and Sideshow and Kotobukias and just anything you need, really. Anything you need.
Cool Obi-Wan statue.
What?
Cool Obi-Wan statue.
I was just looking at
Cool
that.
Obi-Wan
Yes.
statue. That's by one of those people I just listed. Check them out. Fanboycollectibles.com. They have a store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Maybe they'll be at New York Comic Con. I don't know.
Maybe
You
they will.
will
Yeah, we'll have to
let us
find out
know.
from Troy.
Yeah. Okay. We had two things we were going to talk about, and we're now 40 minutes into this thing. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Okay. Two finales this week.
Which
Speaking of
one do you want
week,
to do first?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Finally, he comes up with a good transition, Todd.
Okay.
I mean, if it was something that, hey, this is the first thing that Marvel's put out, be like, this is pretty good. I mean, it's just in comparison to everything else.
I think this is... I really do. I think it's contrast. I also really... I solidly believe there's an hour and 45 minutes worth of content there. And then a whole lot of filler.
Yeah, it's just the writing just wasn't there. The characterizations, not even the characterizations. It is just not the Russo brothers making the Winter Soldier.
And that's
or
part of the
Endgame.
problem is that the
It's
Russo
tough.
brothers are so strong with this stuff that it's hard to take characters that were kind of only handled by the Russo brothers and handled so well.
That's not true. And I know I said it too, but
for the most
we really enjoyed Falcon or the other two fucking people, whatever, Vision and WandaVision.
Yeah. No, I'm saying specifically the Bucky story after First Avenger and Falcon. That was all Russo brothers, is what I'm saying. Those two characters.
No, I know. Now, was WandaVision like much better, or was WandaVision, because it started out weird and then we kind of got on board of where it's going, did it make it better?
This is the thing, and this is the contrast between the two of them, is we never knew what the fuck was going on in WandaVision. Okay? We were speculating. It was like,
I was right, by the way.
You were right.
No, you weren't.
Sure. Okay. Almost nothing happened in this thing that wasn't telegraphed way down the line. Okay,
or super obvious.
You could be, any one of us could have been like writing the next episode after seeing the previous episode and been right about 85 to 90% of it. Okay, there was literally no surprise. I thought John Walker was going to die until they introduced the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character, and then it was like, okay, well, they've got a purpose for him. So he's not going to die. But that was the only plot point that I got wrong through this entire thing.
But it's not even that. I mean,
but
even
like
something predictable is okay.
How do you lead in with something that is the antithesis of predictable, and they go to something where you know when to go to the bathroom? I mean, it's like it
just was not there. I mean, it's just.
And I think you asked about the comparison with WandaVision. I also think WandaVision was just so out there that it was unique enough that it was different, and it wasn't as easy to compare it to those characters' appearances in other movies.
But that is something that's thought out, and that's written into it. There's this, we're going to go on this ride that people aren't going to know. That's this was just sort of like Todd's. It's just sort of laid out there for you, and
there was some. I thought. For me, anyway, there was some decent character development. You got more fleshed out the characters a little bit. You get a little bit more about their motivation for where they are right now. But to Todd's point, it was just so damn predictable.
This was a 5-hour endgame epilogue, okay? That, like I said, it should have been so much short. It should have been so much shorter and tighter. There's an interesting article in Forbes magazine where they cite unconfirmed reports, but from various sources, saying that the original plot related to the Flag Smashers was about a pandemic. Okay, about their releasing a global pandemic, and the timing for this was very, very bad. Okay, because that's just what they were going with when they first paused shooting, and never really came back from that. But one of the biggest things with this is there is really no discernible, kind of plot there. It's just
I still to this day, like, I don't know what that girl and those people, those super soldiers.
She was on Team Thanos.
What were they trying to do?
She was pretty much Team Thanos, and if these people were able to release a pandemic, that's exactly the agenda. But it was just.
No, but in this show, what was their whole thing? She was fighting for equal rights for the people that came back from the snap and the blip, excuse me, and didn't have anywhere to live or weren't being treated right, or like
Barry,
she was.
You are exactly wrong, and that's the
point.
Am? That is the problem with this. No,
how am I wrong? That was what they said.
Barry, listen to me. I've gone through and I've read this. Okay, she was fighting for the people who were now displaced by the people who returned from the snap.
And that is exactly why, we never really saw any of that, so it's hard to care.
All of these people, all the world's refugees, all these people were just all of a sudden had homes. Everyone had a place to be after the snap. Then the people were returned, and all these people were displaced again. Okay? And that's who her cause was.
I took it as the people that came back had nowhere to go,
and that's one of the most misunderstood things. No, this was the people coming back and being entitled to again displacing all these other people.
Maybe they explained that in the parts where I fell asleep.
It's so poorly done.
Because I did.
But that's the problem. The bad guy, we don't understand the bad guy's motivation. And that is always, Thanos, easy. I want to kill half the universe. Okay, fine. You establish that.
Well, and who's the bad guy? You've got the girl that played Enfys Nest in Solo. She's a bad guy. And then you've got, the bad Captain America. He's kind of a bad guy, but then he kind of becomes redeemed.
But we also had the...
Do you want to see him in anything else ever again? I don't want to see him show up in a Marvel movie.
Oh, you're gonna.
I know, but I don't want to.
We'll get to that. But we sort of had the Batwoman villain issue where this Enfys Nest, or whatever her freaking name was, killed people, yet Sam is going to talk to her. She just because she's a kid doesn't make... She's a murderer.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yep. I don't think she's that young of a kid either. I think she's...
No.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And
it's just a bad guy in a Marvel movie. Not good.
The most effective character in this entire show, hands down, Zemo.
Yes.
Zemo got exactly what he wanted. He wanted to eliminate these super soldiers. He did. Right up to the point that he had his butler blow up the people at the end.
And he was entertaining while doing it.
Oh, is that who that dude was?
That
was Zemo's butler.
Okay.
I did totally forgot that.
And
thank you.
Everything that Zemo planned, he followed through on. He was on top of his game the whole time. This was what his, he actually would make a good villain. It has made a good villain, but he would make a good villain if he sets his sights on something else and they just have to stop him, because he's fairly unstoppable, and the dude's got some moves. I can't even fake that.
And I think it can be fun in a story where a character that is a good character turns out to be a bad character. But Sharon Carter, I don't need her infiltrating the CIA and the FBI.
That made no sense.
And they also, again, they telegraphed it really early on, and it was like, is this a fake? Is this whatever? And it's like, yeah.
And is that what you want to do to the legacy of Agent Carter?
Or
exactly.
a character who's been around since the 1960s. Okay? I mean, Sharon Carter has been a thing since the 1960s.
Good then.
But
she was also in some of our favorite Marvel movies and was a good character.
This is supposedly the idea here is that like she was turned bad by circumstances, but also
given an
that.
opportunity to be redeemed, and she didn't choose it.
So this person's like the power broker, and she's going to make a phone call like that in public at the end, walking out like basically it was like, oh God, really?
Yeah, that I didn't like.
And who didn't see that coming? That she was the power broker.
This entire thing, and I don't use this phrase lightly, was comic booky. Okay, it really was. There was a bunch of over the top stuff. There was a bunch of stuff done purely for the aesthetics. It was just, it was like, let's make this as dramatic as possible and not think about it. This is, I mean, this would be if they distilled this down to a 2 hour and 15-minute film. Plot wise, how it was executed and everything would be one of the weaker Marvel films by far.
Definitely.
And like I predicted, you ended up with Falcon with the wings and the shield, and it was too. I felt like it was too much.
It is. Well,
I didn't have a big problem with that.
And okay, so what makes him Captain America? Is it
shield?
The shield, having the shield, or putting the costume on, or both? Because all of a sudden, like, there's this immediate recognition that he's Captain America, and then people are actually calling him Cap. Okay, which is like
it's a little.
I'm okay with him. Wait. I am totally okay with him being Captain America because Steve conveyed that on him when he handed off the shield. But like, he gets Captain America's nickname immediately like that. That was just a little.
But one of the sort of the rosebud or whatever of this thing is the shield. I mean, the shield is. That was what the whole thing was about. You gave away the shield. Now he has the shield, so he's Captain America. The shield, they really went hard. Which
they did. But it's like,
but you never got that in any of the real Captain America was never about the shield. He just
exactly
happened
right.
to have the
And
shield.
that's why
this
I will
was
say,
the opposite of that.
Well, they sort of tried to make it that way. I mean, even to the point where in Infinity War, they're like, "Give this man a shield." Like, you know, like he can't be Captain America without a shield.
Oh, I don't
Steve
think that
was some of the
I think it was-
badass.
That's what he's trained with, and that's what he's going in the battle.
And he had those dopey shields.
But they
and
didn't
that
give
was
him
fine.
a big round shield. They gave him those weird shields attached to his arm.
Actually
But
worked pretty well.
he was never about the shield. And even they established that in the Winter Soldier. Oh, I thought you were more than a shield. That was very specific.
It is,
And
that's,
in this-
but now all of a sudden it's he who holds the shield.
Exactly.
Wields
It's
the-
like Thor's hammer.
Yes, or Excalibur or whatever. It's not the it's not the same.
And that's weak.
The other thing, and I'm honestly,
But we
I
did
am
get a
fine
training
with-
montage out of it.
I'm fine with Sam being Captain America.
Yeah.
The wings thing, the wings and the shield thing, feels like I don't know. It's just a lot.
Well,
I gotta-
it's how do you superpower up a guy that has no superpowers?
And his suit wasn't even like
I thought it was going to be more like nanotech, like
nano.
real
Yeah, I thought it was
Wakandan
going to
tech.
be more
Which is
vibranium.
armor.
I'm fine with the shield and the wings. That stupid head thing,
Yeah.
which may look okay in comics, doesn't look. His little weird ears sticking out of that white freaking thing
That was good. I gotta say,
was horrible.
costume looks a little cheap.
It does. These big shoulders, they're just not
it's the
fitted.
big shoulder pads. The and again, it is Captain America evocative, but he's I don't know. I feel like they shoehorned that onto this character, and I understand why. I just kind of feel like if the shield went back onto the wall at the end of this, I would have been okay with that. And basically said, when the time's right, I'll do it. I mean, I don't know. I kind of I'm still in a place where think about what Cap said in Avengers when Black Widow referred to Thor being a god, and he said, "There's only one God, ma'am," and dove out of the plane. I'm kind of still in a place where there's only one Cap. Now I might be ready for another Captain America, but like the whole oh no, it's just whoever happens to be holding the shield. That's what we do. It's not a baton. It's
and
and
and it's
scary
not
thing
Excalibur either.
No.
I mean it.
Yeah.
So
The scary thing of all of this is, from everything it seems like all of this is leading up to Captain America 4, which there's a lot of rumors about.
I don't think it's rumors. I think it's confirmed.
No, I mean there's a lot of talk about that is going to be this plot line. He's Cap, Sharon's the bad guy, the freaking U.S. agent or whatever his name is going to be it. This was the prequel to this next movie. And the scary thing is, and I don't know anything about these guys, it's going to be supposedly organized by the showrunner of this and one of the writers. And those guys cannot pull it off. Unless the Russo brothers come in to direct it, which I don't think
I
they
don't
will.
think they will either.
I'm really concerned about a Captain America 4 with this storyline and those people doing it.
Yeah, I can't
just don't
disagree
think
with
they can
anything you
handle
just said.
It's just not there. And it was, I feel like Sam is great. Bucky's great. There's just a missed opportunity. I mean, Bucky was just not him. There was just no, I don't know. I totally missed out on his characterization. I just don't think
agree.
it was there.
I agree. Yeah. No, it's yeah. I don't understand. It was like a good idea, but it never went past that stage.
It's like, hey, let's give those two in the back of the Volkswagen a show. It'd be great. Okay.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? It doesn't matter. They're in it. It's like Seinfeld and George.
It was 5 hours of
putting it together.
grief counseling for someone we never really acknowledge is dead. his two best friends working through that. So, I don't know.
All right.
Okay. And there's too much, there's too much conflict. They know they like each other. They know they got each other's back. We had conflict between the two of them up through episode 6. Did we really need that?
I will say I feel like that's what the thing they needed to do is like get the two of them like good with each other, but you could have done that in 3 episodes. With a lot of time on the boat, Jesus. Yeah, it is what it is. I strongly suspect they're going to do much better with Loki. This was, they thought this was the mainstream one. This was the one that was just going to be, the action thing, and they didn't even get
this
that. This
seemed like a no-brainer.
Yeah,
it did. It really did. Yeah. And I don't know. Maybe they're just victims of their own success here. Like we just expect so much more from them now.
Well, we do, but
yeah.
They need to. I mean,
I'll say this though: if this is their first major stumble in the last 10 movies and in the franchise up till this point, there've been a few stumbles in the beginning with movies, but all right, so I'll give them a pass here, but I hope that this isn't a sign of things to come.
I doubt that it is, and I think, like I said, I think this was just this was probably the one that they thought was going to be really easy, and they didn't, it didn't work.
Well, we know all about franchises that get derailed by having to change their story because of something that happened, right. Whether it's in the real world, like a character, an actress dying, Carrie Fisher, or pandemic. Obviously, they couldn't tell that story if that's true.
But they had time to write something better.
I will say this did get better towards the end. The last 3 episodes were better, but not appreciably better. It wasn't huge.
5 is probably the best, I think.
5? Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, to me,
this was not bad,
the image that will forever stick out for me from this series was the bloody shield, and that was. There should have been something else that happened in this that is what I remember most, and I remember the bloody shield the most. So there should have been something else that was more heroic that we were like, holy crap, that was so awesome. But it just wasn't.
I really feel like one of the places that they and again there was nothing bold or daring in this whole thing. If they'd made John Walker a really good guy, okay, and probably the best regular guy you could hand that shield to, and he failed, okay, that could have been interesting, but instead they just
made him damaged.
They made him damaged, and just it's, and yeah. So,
did you dislike this, or did you just not like it as much as you wanted to?
And that is a really good question, Barry, because I got to say, I don't think I had crazy high expectations for this, but both. Yeah. I did not like it as much as I hoped, and I was disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been an interesting thing. What if John Walker just couldn't do it? I mean, it's a giant
burden
task to do. And he couldn't do it, and he's like, Sam, I need help me.
Or he gets taken out, and they take the shield back so they don't hand it down to the next true believer in line who's going to try to do the same thing. Yeah. They realized the failure was letting the government pick the next Captain America, and it wasn't up to them.
But that's the thing. You knew from 20 minutes into episode 1, Sam's going to have this be Captain America at some point. I mean,
Yeah.
If he was great at it and then got whatever, we could speculate.
They made Bucky too damaged. They made Bucky too damaged, and then oversold the race thing, and Cap made his choice. He made his choice when he handed it off to him, and
Well, yeah, and what's really interesting too is that
bad guy.
Cap wasn't on the side of the Sokovia Accords either, so it wasn't like he was a government pawn.
Right.
So why the government thought that it was, the Captain America trademark was theirs to own and theirs to sort of anoint.
Well, I mean, he was the product of U.S. government experiment. He was.
Well, no, he was, but when the government tried to sort of regulate what the Avengers could and couldn't do, Steve wanted no part of that.
He did, and he had to give up the shield and step down because of that.
Right.
He took the star off his chest. Yeah. So
I thought it wore off because he wore that suit for like a year and a half.
could very well be.
Isn't that what it was?
It wore off, or he needed to dull it down a little bit.
That thing probably stunk.
I don't imagine he wore it every day, Dave. But
But
yeah,
you could wash it once in a while.
Maybe it was all the washing that made it fade off.
That's exactly what I'm
could very
saying.
well
Maybe
be.
that's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Let us know what you thought. You people out there hate stuff we like. We didn't love this. I'm sure there's someone who thought it's the greatest thing ever. Let us know. Not that we hold that against you. We're all family here.
All right,
Okay.
we're an hour in.
We're in an
part
hour
two,
and
part
one.
2 of our series wrap up is For All Mankind, and we're going to pick that up next week.
All right. So yeah, next week For All Mankind. And let's go an oldie but a goodie. Let's go some show and tell.
Is that the $6 million man's boss?
It's Oscar Goldman.
Why do you have that?
That's worth a lot of money. That's much more valuable than Steve Austin.
Regular Joe's show and tell.
Oh, look, he's got a billion toys.
Todd, this is your idea, I think, wasn't it?
I think it was
What are you
Barry's
showing
idea,
and
but
telling?
that's okay.
Oh,
So
sorry.
this is an Adam Eve
I thought
figure.
that was a Barbie for a second.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
This
What
is
is
an
it?
Adam Eve figure from Invincible. Barry and I purchased these quite a while ago. I gave mine to a friend who was probably the only other person I know that likes the comic as much as we do. And then when the show started airing, I was like, I kind of wish I didn't give that away. And so I went online, and these go for a whole lot of money. And so like a lot of money, quite a bit, about 5 times what we paid for these. And
Wow.
so I set myself a very low limit. I basically okay, I'll pay like $30 more than original retail for this. And I found a comic book shop in Aberdeen, Scotland that sold me this for less than the original price, and with shipping, it was actually very, very cheap. But she came in like 5 days from Aberdeen, and
Wow.
and is back on the shelf. And
My
So-
favorite comic book female character.
yep, and great. Like I said, I it had been sitting on the shelf for a while, and somebody said, "Oh, that's amazing! I want to get one of those." And I said, I probably just about ready to cycle it out here, and then, like I said, regretted that a few weeks ago. So she's back. So
Great.
That's my show and tell, and it's from the Diamond Comics Femme Fatale series. She's about maybe not quite 12 inches tall, maybe about 10 inches tall or so.
Just while we're on the topic, and we'll keep it super brief, Invincible continues to be amazing. The cartoon on Amazon. If you're not watching it, you should be.
Oh, geez, people, this show's amazing.
So good.
You could argue that it is too faithful to the comic, but there's little tweaks here and there that everything they've done really, really well with it. The few minor changes that they've made to do some updating and whatnot all work. Nothing feels forced. It's just great. It's
My
absolutely
son Josh is loving it, and he's actually reading the comics in time with the episodes. He's not reading ahead.
Yep.
So he's reminding me of what's different in the comics versus the series. But yeah, it's pretty faithful. It's just great though. So good.
Some of the best stuff is yet to come.
Yep.
I'm sorry. You done? I was ordering The Martian.
Yeah. You want me to go so you can continue ordering?
Go. No, go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to show something that you guys have both seen, but I never talked about on the show. So, back in 2017, I reached out to a guy who was I was told could sell me castings of Death Star tiles.
You didn't do these on the show?
Not the full display. So
Okay. I'm just curious.
in
Okay.
2018, I finally was able to get some of these Death Star tiles. It was one of the first things I worked on when you guys got me the airbrush for my 50th birthday. In the middle of COVID last year, Dave and I got together for an afternoon, and he had made me a frame to mount my Death Star tiles in. So this is the finished product of the Death Star tiles mounted in a wooden frame that Dave made for me, custom fit to fit these tiles. So I can finally display them, because for a long time I had them done and I just had no way of displaying them. So I've got 4 6x6 Death Star tiles in this frame, and Dave's even got his sticker on the back, which is awesome. So these hang on my wall ever since that day that I hooked up with you last year to pick this up from you. But
That
it's
looks
fun.
really
It's-
good displayed like that.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it came out. So, and I had made tiles for each of you guys, but not the full set like that. So
Yeah, that looks good. Cool.
Yeah.
And we did wear our masks when we got together.
we did, and
so-
we went to a toy store that I hadn't been to in years. It was a lot of fun. We spent a long time there.
And we didn't buy anything.
We didn't buy anything, but
Yeah. Cool.
all right, Dave.
All right.
What do you got?
Mine's very obscure. So when this week we were texting a little bit about the $6 Million Man, and Todd was like, "Oh, I didn't realize he had that belt buckle. He has this weird belt that he wore," and we were going back and forth. And I remembered when I was a kid, loving the $6 Million Man being my favorite TV show, the things about him that I noticed. He used to wear this silver bracelet that's like this sort of metal. And when I was a kid, I had to have one. So my parents bought, I said I wanted one. They bought me this Spidell name bracelet that was similar, because on a 19-inch black and white TV or color
Kinda hard
TV
to
at
tell
the time,
exactly
you didn't know
what it was.
you know what it was. So I thought I had this. So I went up, as you've heard, I own everything I almost ever owned as a human. The problem is I only have the box. I do not have the bracelet. So I found the boxes. I remember seeing it when I was looking for something else. And inside is my puka shells, though, from the 70s. So
my Spidell ID bracelet with my name. We got them at Christmas. All the kids in our family had them, and I still have mine. And I remember wearing that because of the $6 Million Man.
yeah, but did you have the one with the chain, or
I did have the one with the chain.
most were the chain? I had this one that was a solid piece of
Oh wow,
silver.
yeah, mine was a chain
But
too.
not
I
silver.
had one.
Yeah.
Metal.
Yeah.
That's because it was like his.
But I wore it because he wore his. It was like,
Yeah, of course. That's what I wish I had it. I don't.
That's
I
so
only have
funny.
the box, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
God,
I
I've
did
seen
find
that box
something
in
while.
forever though.
Yeah, right. I did find my Corgi Toys Doctari set. Do you remember the show
sure, yeah.
Doctari? It had all these little animals. It's got this Land Rover, and then it came with this set's actually in really good shape. This is from when I was a little kid. It's got the elephant and the woman. There's the guy and the chimp, and I'll send pictures. There's Clarence, the cross-eyed lion. There's a giraffe, and there's an alligator. So, and this is actually still in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it looks
actually.
really
This is
good.
One of those Corgi toys.
And that's this week's episode of It Came from Dave's Attic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much stuff. I have this one box that holds the contents of my childhood bedroom junk drawers, and this is some of the stuff that is in it.
Okay, so here's our thing, and we're going to make Brian do this. Okay, next week, we're all going to have something that we have owned for most of our lives.
I've only got
I
one.
almost pulled something out
Okay,
that
well,
I think
you got a week to think about it. But there's got to be something.
Oh no, I
thing
have
I ever
another.
had.
I have another.
Yeah,
There is another.
I've shown you guys a few things. I know I showed you the. Remember the Sherlock Holmes hat that my mother made me, that basically sewing 2 baseball caps together. And I've got the Star Trek medallion my sister got me, but we need to dig back. We need to get to at least pre-teens. So think on that.
I've got something, and it's funny. I just recently was taking a hard look at it because it was something I had actually handed to my son for a while because he was interested in it, and he gave it back to me, and I went back over it.
Yep.
So yeah, I do have something.
So
I gotta see. I mean,
we'll
I've
have
gone
a little
through.
personal history show and tell next week.
I've done some of that stuff already, but
Yeah, I have two. So
I have a lot of it too.
I know you do.
I'm trying to think.
We could probably just add a segment to the show, like a weekly segment of, what was in Dave's junk drawer as a child.
Yeah, Dave, there's a lot of Dave stuff like that, but
It's so funny because there's definitely stuff like this Doc Curry thing is got to be from early 70s. That show went off the air in 69. So
I've
that's
never even
gotta
heard of
be
it.
Early, yeah.
oh yeah.
Early 70s. This breaks it. I mean, when was $6 Million
So
Man?
it was basically
74?
like a safari adventure show that they intercut stock video from like documentaries and stuff like that, right? Because you could really tell when you were watching it when all of a sudden they went to like the stock cheetah.
I don't remember it at all. I remember.
I probably
this
saw
is
it,
the
like,
only my connection
probably
to
saw
it.
some of it like 20 years ago, but it was just like it was so obvious when they cut to the stock footage, and it was like, yeah, okay.
I just had to look it up on Wikipedia just to get a sense of when it was. There was a monkey in it called Judy, who also played Debbie the Bloop
really?
on Lost in
Oh,
Space.
that's
Yeah,
interesting.
and Joni from Happy Days was in the last season, not as Joni, but as someone else.
Yep.
It's funny. The animals were in this old black and white film container, and there's two other plastic. These have got to be older than these. There's like this is from some
Sabertooth.
Mark
Is that
set Sabertooth, and then there's a little Triceratops. I don't know what they're doing in
That's
there.
not a Triceratops. That's a spiked dinosaur. Triceratops only has 3 horns.
That's I don't know what.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
In Aurora parlance, that's called the spiked dinosaur. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thanks for that dinosaur minute. Anyway, there's plenty of stuff up there. Not all of it's exciting.
You talk about the stock footage. I was watching an episode of $6 Million Man not long ago, and it was an episode where most of the episode was about a Hispanic teenage boy that Steve was kind of taking under his wing, but he was like caught up with a gang, and the gang was didn't want to let him out, and it was this whole thing. But Steve took the kid up in the plane with him, and it was like intercutting between horrible stock footage of like and the U.S. Air Force Base, and Steve like standing right up next to what might have been a plane. It was really bad. But I will be doing deep dives into $6 Million Man, as you guys know, for a project I'm working on. So more to come on that.
Yeah, I got to say,
Okay.
Yes, some of those aviation things are really, really bad. It's like a Piper Cub and a Cessna are not the same plane. But if they're both vaguely silver and blue, you can use them interchangeably for takeoffs and landings. No, you can't.
But even on Star Trek, when they did the episode with the fighter plane, there was some really bad stock footage in there.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I was building that model recently, I went back to the episode and I was taking screenshots from it. And the plane on the ground and the plane in the air are not the same plane.
No.
Yeah. So. Anyway, okay. Next week, we're going to say it now. For All Mankind finale. If you have a week. If you haven't watched it, you could watch all 2 seasons in a week.
Truly
easily.
could,
It's only
and it would be
16
worth
episodes.
doing.
And we
It'd
keep
be worth
telling you
doing.
how good this is. Like,
Yeah.
you got to watch it. It's so good.
Do yourself a favor. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.